Hello and welcome to Cover Story. Today I have with me Nitin Seth. He is the co-founder and CEO of Inseto Inc., which is the digital data and AI services platform. He's himself a global business leader. He's had a leadership role at McKinsey, Flipkart, and Fidelity International. But today we're going to be talking to him about his book. He's out with his third and latest book. This one too deals in the with AI. The book is entitled "Human Edge in the AI Age." Welcome to this conversation, Nitin, and it's really a timely book. And I can also see that you're here in the country. You're here for the AI summit. So before we talk about the book, where you very make a case of how the humans can remain relevant and retain their edge in the age of I first want to ask you about the summit. How did you find it?
I think the summit was an overwhelming experience. Just the amount of activity and number of people was a lot. What I found very positive, Priya, was the intent. So there clearly was an intent uh, to externally project India as being extremely serious about AI, and it was very impressive. How much of how many global leaders were brought together, and how many thought leaders and policy makers. So I think that was very impressive. Also, the internal mobilization. Bringing letting students really come in. So it was great. It was from an awareness building perspective. At the same time, I think if I just take a more critical lens about the quality of discussions, I think the quality of discussions could have been deeper. I think they reflect, I guess, where India is, in the whole AI journey, that there is a lot of enthusiasm, there is a lot of intent, but in terms of substance of
Mm.
what actually we are doing, we are still in relatively early stages, especially compared to United States and China, and there's a way for us to go.
I think I totally agree with you because in terms of that, it is a good platform and one could have perhaps maybe utilize it better, but it at least lets India take a reality check of where we stand, and but on a more global look, I wanted to talk to you first of all. I believe you were on a panel discussion over there. What was the discussion about?
So I've been on a panel discussion every day. So today
All right.
morning, so today morning it was on intellectual property and how IP frameworks need to evolve with AI. And yesterday I was on a conversation around future skills and again in AI age, what does it mean for skills going forward?
Okay. Let's talk about your book. In fact, that is also a part of what you just talked about. How do we let, to in a nutshell, to be empowered by AI and not overpowered by it? You talk about how we retain our human edge, and very interestingly, you talk about, the transition on the digital age from computers to AI. But how do we remain relevant and, keep control on the machines that we've created?
See, it's not an easy one, Priya. So I think anybody who says that this is all glory and beautiful, or anybody who says it's doomsday, see, none of those scenarios, I don't believe in either of those scenarios. I think,
Hmm.
uh, the reality is somewhere in between. So how do I see AI? AI is a huge force. It's not just another technology wave. We should not mistake that it's just like computer age or internet. There were some losses, but generally everything grew. It's not as simple. If you have to compare it has to be compared with fire or wheel or electricity. It is that order of magnitude.
Okay.
Why do I say that? See, with AI, what's happening is that AI, in a sense, is becoming more human than humans. And it is able to do many things which we thought were innately human, like creativity
Right.
or
Hmm.
empathy. We thought this is only human, but that's not the
Hmm.
case. AI is making, great strides in that. Now, while AI is becoming more human than humans, the issue is that as humans, we are becoming narrower, we are maybe becoming more machine-like. And
Hmm.
that
Well said.
that is where I think we have the issue, Priya. So I think how AI is progressing, I don't think we can halt that. Yeah. The genie is out of the lamp. This is
Right.
not like nuclear power that five countries can come together and control what happens. AI has already become pervasive. So
Hmm.
really, my view is that the focus has to be on the other side of the equation, which is
Which
humans.
is,
Okay. So
huh.
AI will continue to progress, Priya. It will continue to
Hmm.
progress. If we don't do anything, AI has the potential of overwhelming us. For sure there is going to be impact on jobs, but it's not just that. Now, coming to the human side, my fundamental belief is that as humans, we have tremendous potential, and we are working at only a fraction of that potential. Researchers
Hmm.
estimate that as 5 to 20%. Yeah. I think it could even be lower. So we have a lot of capabilities, but we are not bringing them to bear. And I think AI age requires us to bring them out. Let me give you examples. So, risk taking. Now, the
Hmm.
early man was a risk taker and was also adapting. So the early man went through a lot of struggles and still survived and thrived. Now, it's not to say that with AI we're going to go back to the caves, but the world we have carefully constructed over the last 200 years is going to kind of come change in the next 10, 15 years. Yeah, so it requires a lot of adaptation, it requires a lot of risk taking, and which is going back to the pioneering instincts of the early man, which have got maybe dimmed a bit with industrial revolution. At the same time, for to do well in AI, we need a much higher order of creativity,
Hmm.
of imagination, because anything which can be executed, AI will execute over a period of time. Yeah, and that creativity and imagination maybe calls for a maybe broadening of consciousness. Yeah, which interestingly our thinkers in India have talked about it, like Sri Aurobindo even 100 years back, talked about the growth of consciousness and Superman and all of that. So that's my belief, that combining the pioneering and risk-taking instincts of the early man and the growing, the broader consciousness of the Superman, I think provides us a way forward. But let's make no
But
mistake
what
that
happens in the Superman is a super machine.
I think the super machine will also is a good push for us, Priya. Is a good push for us. So if we just go business as usual, and if we stay in our comfort zone and just keep on crying that AI will take our jobs, what will happen? Then it will
Hmm.
certainly, all of that not so good things will happen. But if we use this to push ourselves, push back on our fundamentals, what makes us humans, I think this will push us to a next level. We have gone through many, I talked about fire, wheel, electricity, and so on. These are all
Hmm.
very major inflection points in our human history, in our evolution. This is another inflection point, and we have successfully encountered previous inflection points. Why do we need to be so underconfident about our ability to rise to the occasion?
Fair enough. And as you said, in terms of jobs, you have said in your book also that it's the end of the era of jobs, but the beginning of the era of entrepreneurship, which is a positive note. But you saw today at Bharat Mandap all these startups. Isn't there this whole struggle of, in terms of survival, you can say in that sense, because we're still finding our feet in that. And where is the stability? Is there enough space for all these ideas and entrepreneurship?
I think there is a, um, I think there is tremendous opportunities, Priya. So what will happen with AI is that every industry will get disrupted. Now, it may
Yeah.
not happen immediately. And I think the issue, Priya, is that jobs may go sooner than the opportunities get created. Okay. I think that's the real risk which is there. But I am very bullish on the opportunities that will get created, because the power of AI is immense. With that, industries will get disrupted, and it is not necessarily the large companies, who have the opportunity, who will be best placed to lead that. Because sometimes incumbents find it very difficult to deal with that order of change. So I think there is a tremendous opportunity for startups. But then it's also a question that the startups need to have quality, they need to have depth, they can't be shallow. Because today, I think what you're seeing and what you're reacting to is that a lot of those startups are just very shallow, me too ideas, and then in a rush
Yeah.
and a haste to declare some kind of a victory, okay, which
Correct.
is so obvious that they are not there, okay. But I don't think we should take that as where it will stop. It's kind of like in the Indian mythology, we
Churn.
have the Samudra Manthan, yeah, the
Manthan,
churning,
churn. Ha, right.
the churning
Hmm.
of oceans, and first, the poison that comes out, before the nectar comes out, and I do see that. I think we are going to go through a period of pain, Priya. But I think if we navigate that well, it could lead to, I think, tremendous set of opportunities.
So, in which sector do you see the new jobs evolving in is it the services sector? Like, for instance, what will I tell a kid who's 14-year-old today? What should he take for his studies? What does the future look like for him in this age of AI?
See, I think so. There are two parts to your question. I think first, from a sector perspective, I think clearly services will be hit more than manufacturing to begin with. And
Okay.
in 10 years, when robots become really more competent and kind of, their price points reduce, then manufacturing will also get hit again. But I think in the medium term, there is a lot to be said about, I think from a national perspective, to double down on manufacturing. We missed the manufacturing wave, and I think that's a vulnerability that we have. So I think there is no doubt. I have done a lot of analysis as part of my book, that the white collar jobs, Priya, you'll be shocked with the number, that over the next 5 years, the white collar jobs are 10 times more vulnerable than blue collar jobs. Okay, so there is a lot to be said about that whatever incremental capital and growth nationally we can push into manufacturing, we should. Now comes to the second question, that what do you tell a 14-year-old what to study? And
Right.
so what's happening with AI is very clear, that technical skills are becoming commodity. So till yesterday, or maybe even today, computer science was the most wanted education, and I would submit that it's going to remain for a few who are really going to be technically very competent, who will create the AI infrastructure. But AI infrastructure is mostly to be used. Okay,
Hmm.
that the fastest growing programming language in the world today is not Python, it is English. Okay,
Right.
so the technical skills are going to become less relevant, but what are going to become a lot more relevant, one
Hmm.
is domain knowledge, okay, knowing the business, okay. So because AI platforms are going to be very, very good at what I call horizontal or technical set of tasks, but they are not very good at decision making, which requires a lot of context, and
Hmm.
that context comes from domain knowledge. So that is
Right.
banking or retail or telecom. You need to be understanding that, as opposed to just kind of Java or C++. Okay, that's one part of it. The
A
second
good
part of
point.
it the second part is that the fundamental skills, of problem solving, creativity, they become more important, because we spoke about it earlier as well, that anything which is given over a period of time, AI will be able to execute on it. So what is very important from a human perspective is to envisage, to reimagine something new, which is a business, product, process. So which needs that problem solving and needs creativity. And that's something, which the focus moves from the hard technical skills to the softer, the so-called softer. There's nothing soft about them. The
Hmm.
so-called softer skills, which are the foundational skills.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, but stay with us because we're going to come back and keep this conversation going. So don't go away. Hello and welcome back to our cover story conversation. I have with me Nitin Seth, the author of The Human Edge in the AI Age. And we were just talking about not just his book, but the AI age, really. And you talked, in your book, you talk about how, with the help of technology, the digital age, we move from machines doing our physical tasks to the intellectual, intelligent quotient to now the emotional quotient. And that is what makes us distinctly human. So, what will happen, when we have machines taking over the EQ also? How do we remain relevant? And what is that scenario really going to be like? Or is it already here?
Yeah, it's just interesting, with computers, they started to do very well on IQ, and with AI, it's now EQ.
EQ.
But Priya, it's not that simple. AI, IQ, and EQ have got many dimensions to it. Yeah. So machines, the way they operate is they go like it's almost like a checklist, like
Hmm.
point one, point two, point three, point four. They attack the specifics. As humans, we are very good with the macro, with the broad, or what I call integrative intelligence. Yeah. So that I think is going to become more important, which is your ability to integrate different aspects of IQ, different aspects of EQ, and bring them together. So you can't say I'm only left brain, I'm only right brain. That integrative intelligence I think is going to become more important. Being able to see the big pictures, being able to see the interlinkages, because the specific aspects, AI will likely do better. The other dimension that I want to propose, that if you look at the kind of flow, it has been maybe 1,000 years, a couple of thousand years back, it was about the physical quotient. It became the intellectual quotient. And then over the last 50 years, it has been a lot about the emotional quotient. I think there is another aspect to us, which we don't talk much about, which is the spiritual quotient.
Spiritual. Yes, I
And
saw that from your book. Hmm.
and that's my belief, that, and I think that's also very linked with the expanded consciousness and creativity point that I talked about. That I think where we are going with AI, I think we need to rediscover and relive, that, our kind of spiritual self, which is really saying that it's a process of going inside yourself, and that allows you to see the big picture. I think that big picture, Priya, is going to become very important.
But what happens when the machines are already outthinking the creator? We still, they're outperforming us. They're even outthinking us. They're beating us at chess games. They're coming up with moves which we hadn't programmed them to come up with. What happens then? It's happening already. Is it going out of hand?
Um, It is scary, Priya. It is scary, but there is no point fretting about it because you and I can't do anything about it. It's no government, no power can stop the experimentation that's happening with AI models, because it's not one
And
company.
idea whose time has come. You quoted Victor Hugo, I saw.
So, like the definition of intelligence is to know what can be changed and what can't be changed, isn't it? So I think the progress of AI we can't change. Okay, we can put some guardrails around it in
Huh.
terms of data privacy and how do you address biases and ethical use of AI. So those guardrails are very important, but they will still not curtail AI, Priya. Okay, so Priya, sorry, AI will progress. So no point, obsessing about it, fretting too much about it. What we can change, what we should put our energy on is our response, our human response, which is why that's what I focus on in my book. It's a book on like to do with AI, but I don't obsess about the implications of AI beyond a point. I
Hmm.
have devoted most of my thinking to what we should do as humans
To the
because
response. Yeah.
that's what is in our hands, Priya.
Fair enough. And as you say very evocatively, the future is not to be feared, but to be created. And
Yes.
so, which are before I let you go, which are the fields where you see the AI doing a lot of good? Is it healthcare? Is it education? What are the fields where you feel that it's really being deployed well?
You said it. Those are, I think, the three fields that I feel most passionate, where I think AI is going to be for good is education, healthcare, and agriculture. So,
Agriculture.
so I think these are three fields I feel very passionately about. See, the very positive uh, nature of AI is that it's a democratizing force, Priya. So it kind of makes, it is kind of democratizing knowledge, it's making it universal. So think
Hmm.
about it that the best knowledge in the world is no more preserve of a student in Silicon Valley at Stanford or Berkeley or at Harvard or Yale, whether you are sitting in Guntur in Andhra Pradesh or Navsari in Gujarat or Bhatinda in Punjab, you have access to the same knowledge. Isn't that amazing? So, there is, so I think knowledge, so education is going to change in very fundamental ways, and also personalization. Now, historic with industrial revolution, we have been stuck in the scale paradigm, and scale has meant standardization. Yeah, so
Hmm.
think about it. Like you have a class of students. Each student's learning orientation and pace is different, but it is one method. Now, with AI, you can have personalization, and you can do
Right.
personalization at scale. That will change things tremendously. And you look at healthcare, all of these kind of forces are also true for healthcare. But just another thing, the key issue in healthcare is the time and cost of drug development. It can take billions of dollars and many years. And with AI and use of synthetic data, now there are possibility of crunching those many years to by an order of magnitude. So these are some of the fields which I feel that AI, if used well, is not just about like a economic discontinuity. It can truly be a force for social good.
On that note, thank you so much, Nitin Seth, for this conversation and for that wonderful book. And we hope to catch you more for more such conversations because, as you said, AI is really here to stay. So we're going to keep looking to you for helping us understand it. Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you, Priya.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.